Yeah, thank you. Are you getting up to leave, or are you staying? Am I there or here?
Sit down. I can moderate from there. You can moderate? Yes, sir.
Thank you, everybody.
I think we're going to jump in right into fan questions if you're cool with that.
Phase?
Yes.
All right.
Well, actually, I wanted to ask about
I thought
shit
you were moderating.
Well, I wanted to ask about Shit My Dad Says, the TV show.
What does your dad say?
Well, I can't repeat it. Well, I guess I can't even repeat the title, but the new TV show.
I know nothing about it.
What?
Yeah. I did a pilot based on those Twitters. I don't know whether you're aware of it. I wasn't. There's a Twitter called Shit My Father Says, and apparently a lot of people got attached to it, and then Warner Brothers and CBS became enamored with the idea, and we've shot a pilot, and we're waiting with bated breath to see how it goes. I thought it was very amusing. I hope the network thinks so too. So that's where we are on that. I just came back from Nice at Cannes. There's a sort of a selling bazaar that goes on with television shows. Twice a year, the buyers and the sellers all meet, and it's and I've never been before. I've been to Cannes before during the film festival, but I'd never been when they sell television shows, which is a whole other thing. I mean, the Cannes Film Festival is quite a glamorous event, and I'm sure you all see pictures of people walking up those red carpeted stairs and photographs, the white light of the photographs blinding all the people as they walk up the stairs, and the women in their beautiful gowns, and the guys in their tuxes, and they all, and the movie is premiered at Cannes. And I was there with an animated film. DreamWorks had decided to premiere Over the Hedge. The leading player was Bruce Willis, and so Bruce Willis and I and 4 or 5 other members of the cast are walking up those red carpeted stairs, and all the flash bulbs going off, and all very glamorous. And I see 4 or 5 other people walking up the stairs with us, right on the same level. And I turned to Bruce and I said, "Who are they?" And he said, "Oh, they're the French voices. This is in France, and they're the French voices in this animated film." I thought, well, what are we doing here? It's an animated thing. It's not our faces. Not our voices. We're walking up like it's the big glamorous event, and I don't think it occurred to anybody that we weren't in the film. So that was my previous experience with Cannes. So here I was the last few days meeting people who might buy one of 4 television shows that I'll be on this season. So I got to the point where I didn't know exactly what it was I was selling. Yeah, I'm terrific in this, and I thought, what is that? What exactly was it that I was terrific in? And so it went. And the most meaningful thing to happen at Cannes in the last few days was on Thursday. My wife and I, it's 9 o'clock in the morning, and there's a car waiting for us. The city of Nice is about a 40-minute drive from Cannes, and that's where you pick up the airplane. And we're walking through the lobby. Our luggage is loaded in a car that's going to take us to the airport. And the phone rings, and the concierge, and Mr. Shatner, I have a phone call for you. Who's calling me at 9 o'clock in the morning on the day? It turns out to be the travel agent. Everything's canceled. There's a volcano has exploded in Iceland, and everything's closed, including Heathrow, which is where we were flying. And somebody said, "Well, let's stay in the lobby until they can find us an airplane out." And I thought, no, let's get to the airport. And we got to the airport, and everything flying north was canceled, except Air France, which was flying to the de Gaulle airport, and there were 6 seats left. 2 we got of those 6 seats. We were into the Paris airport, whatever it's called, and Charles de Gaulle, and caught the last flight to Los Angeles on Thursday night. I wouldn't have been here otherwise. And they closed the airport right after we left. So it was like, somebody had likened it to like getting out of Vietnam. There are thousands of people, buyers and sellers, still at Cannes wondering what happened. Volcanic. So I'm here by the grace of Air France. Thank you. What was that? Priceline guarantee. Priceline did it. That's right. Bless you, my child. By the way, Priceline is the sponsor of a horse show I put on at the Equestrian Center in Burbank, the Los Angeles Equestrian Center. And so May 1st, big party. It's a 5-day horse event, a reining horse event, in which I participate. I compete, and also putting this horse show on for the last 25 years. We raise money for handicapped children in need, and so if any of you decide to turn up, we've got a few seats left. Sarah McLaughlin will be entertaining us, and it's a great dinner and it's a great event. So tickets are a little expensive, but it's deduction, and Priceline will get you there. What else before I go to questions? I was in the closing ceremonies. I want to tell you a story that I'm sort of preparing it. I'm going to tell it somewhere else. I'm not quite sure where. Look at this. Somebody put a Sony. Oh, this is a tape recorder. Somebody's taping what I'm saying. Boo! So I was at the closing ceremonies of the Winter Olympics. Okay, I don't know whether any of you saw it or not. Okay, so everything that goes in front of the camera is one thing. The things that happen behind the scenes, and I'm going to tell you what happened behind the scenes in this particular instance. All right, so if you saw the closing ceremonies, you must have seen the opening ceremonies. And you would have seen Wayne Gretzky with flop sweat on his lip as he was waiting for that 4th arm to come up that didn't come up. Okay. So I'm Canadian, and I can say things against Canada that you can't. So to me, when the 4th arm didn't come up, and I saw Gretzky waiting, because I now know he had a little earphone in his ear, and the guy upstairs saying, wait, don't go yet, Wayne, not yet, Wayne. And they must have been running around like mad trying to get that 4th arm up. And to me, that's purely Canadian. Something's always going wrong. It's great, and then something small goes wrong. Like I was directing a segment of something or other up there some years ago, and we had to fire some guns on the street. And to fire guns on the street there, and I think it's the same here, you need a permit. To fire the blank, bang, 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 you need a permit. So we get to the scene, we're on the street, and the first assistant comes up to me, a burly, red-haired Irishman, I think, and he comes up and he says, excuse me, Mr. Shatner, we don't have a permit. What? We got to shoot the scene. Well, we don't have a permit. I haven't got a permit. I forgot to get the permit. And so what are you going to do? I don't know. We got to shoot the scene. He said, well, I can slot this thing for Saturday. Today's Tuesday, and I'll shoot it so we can shoot it on Saturday. I said, well, all right. God, we need the scene, and we're not. Okay, now we'll do it on Saturday. So Saturday comes along, and we're all set. Let's shoot. Ready? Go. Mr. Shatner, I forgot to get the permit again. I'm so sorry. What are we going to do? It's Saturday. I leave tomorrow. And we never did get the scene because this jerk forgot to get the permits the second time. So I'm looking at the 4th arm that's not coming up, and I'm thinking, oh, Canada. Now, in typical Canadian fashion, they make a joke of it in the closing ceremonies. It's very funny. They have a mime pulling on the 4th arm. The 4th arm comes up, everybody laughs. It's great fun. Purely Canadian. Make a mistake, make a joke of it, everybody's happy. Okay, so they got the 4th arm up, and now the singer who precedes me, I've forgotten his name, with a guitar. You got a name? The guy? What? Neil Young. Neil Young comes. All right, so Neil Young, we're underneath the floor that you see, the audience sees. There's a 10-foot gap. There's a ceiling, and we're on the floor where they play basketball, okay? And under this floor, under this false roof, there's masses of equipment. I mean, electronic equipment is humming and thing, and mechanical things are going on, and this is where the fourth arm failed. So I am now under this floor, and Neil Young has gone up in this thing that raises him up to the floor of the stage where he sings his song, and now he's coming down. I've got the thing in my ear, and I hear, put Shatner on the lift. So I go to, Neil gets off, and I go to get on when two guys rush up with a teleprompter. Now, there's 60,000 people in the arena, and 3 billion people watching the television show. You do not want to forget your words. You know, like, hello everybody, and you realize there's 3 billion people looking at you with their mouth open. So they provide you with a teleprompter down there. There's a teleprompter and it has your words. If you need it, and I presumed I wouldn't need it, you can glance down there and see your words and continue on. I'm going to get on the platform underneath the stage as Neil Young comes off, and the guys put down the teleprompter, and then they're trying to get the teleprompter. Is the teleprompter working? Yeah, no, we'll get it to work. And I hear, put Shatner on the lift. And I'm thinking the fourth arm didn't go up. And this damn teleprompter, 4 billion people and 60,000 people in the arena, what am I going to do? Put Shatner on the lift. I get on the lift, they're hammering on the teleprompter, the lift goes up, and I look down, and it's working. 3 billion people. Frightening. Anyway, that's what I was doing prior to getting on a plane that was flying into a volcanic cloud. And what? Did I need the teleprompter? No, but it's like not needing your mother's breast, you know? As long as it's there, it's okay. Security blankets. Anyway, I'm signing autographs down the lane there. When this is over, I'm going to go back there for a few minutes, and I'm going to sign the remnants of the autographs. So I just thought I'd mention that in case you want to get something there. I'm going to be there for a minute or so. What else would you like to know? I did this pilot that, if it goes, it's a they call it a 4-camera show. It's a sitcom. And it's by the guys who wrote Will and Grace. And I don't know whether you know this name, but James, Burroughs. I thought it was James Brooks. I kept calling him Brooks, but his name is Burroughs. James Burroughs, who did name it. What? Cheers. Cheers did. I thought you were saying cheers like to me. Cheers. And I would say, yeah, cheers. Yeah, he did Cheers. So Jimmy Burroughs, I call him Jimmy, directed it, and the guys, I mean, it's really a first-class operation, and I think it should go. And it'll be called Bleep, My Father Says. It's a 4-camera show. All right. It's been a long time since I've been really nervous. Like, even in front of the 3 billion people, I thought, what's going to happen? So I won't work again. But on a Friday evening, 300 people pile into seats, and it's like I've done a lot of stock work, and when I was younger, we'd do a play a week. We would rehearse a play in a day and play another play at night. I mean, and live television can't be any scarier than this, but for a moment, for about 10 seconds, I was looking at the audience, and I was thinking that so much had been rewritten. They rewrite all the time. They rewrite. You're about to go on to say hello, and they say, no, no, say goodbye. But I'm supposed to say hello. No, say goodbye. So, what's that song? Say hello, say goodbye. Okay. So it's that kind of, it's a weird. It's a weird, and then they'll stop. Cut! Wait a minute! And you think, wait a minute, there's an audience out there. You can't cut. Cut! Let's try another line. Do it again, Bill. Do it again? I thought it was good the first time. What am I going to do with it? It is the weirdest sensation. So there's this audience, which in itself isn't weird, but there are all the people surrounding the camera who don't belong there. There are agents. There's your mother. There's a couple of kids wandering around. It's like a party. The actors are like a circus performers, like, hey, look at me. And you're in a 4 camera show, and 300 people are watching you perform, and it's like you're watching a circus. And I felt like a circus performer for a minute, and then I kind of lost. I got with it, and you stop and you go, and the people are in on the joke that you just said didn't work. So the guys who wrote Will and Grace rewrite the joke, and the joke works, and everybody's in on the joke that works, that you're not supposed to know that didn't work. That kind of. It's like everybody's in on it. So it was the strangest sensation. I've been in this business all my life. I've lived a long life, and I've never done this thing before, and it's weird. It is a weird form of show business. But I think it's successful, so you may be seeing it this season on CBS. I'm also doing some other things that are just absolutely fascinating to me. I do a talk show called Raw Nerve. I don't know whether any of you have seen it. Okay. 5 out of 500. It's not bad. It's about the ratings. So I get to talk to people that you all would like to have talked to. And I don't have any prepared script. And I just start talking. Just, what are you doing? And what do you got in your pocket? And why have you got that? And it's like an opening. Like, how do you insert yourself into somebody's personal life in a half an hour? Well, actually an hour. So I speak to them for about an hour. But anyway, I proposed another show to the Bio channel, and I called it Aftermath. And it would be the aftermath of any event that we all looked at for the day or the week that it was in the news until some other event happened. But 5 years later, don't you wonder, like, what happened? What happened to Jessica Lynch? What happened to Bernie Getz, the subway vigilante? What happened to the weavers of Ruby Ridge? What happened to the victims of the DC sniper? That kind of thing. I got to interview them all. Did 6 hours of Aftermath, which will be on the Bio channel, and it is absolutely fascinating to what these people are thinking and doing. Bernie Getz, we provided him with a gun, a mock-up of a gun, and he began to show me the fast draw. I do hands to the Bernie Getz, the subway vigilante some years ago in the New York subway. Do you any hands? You remember? Yeah, great. That's 5 that watched Raw Nerve. Anyway, so Bernie Getz shot 4 people in the subway, and at that time, some years ago, New York was in the middle of a crime wave. They thought he was a hero, and they found him not guilty. He left 4 people lying in the ground, and one of them permanently injured. So we get Bernie Getz on to talk about, because he's free, and he quick drew the gun and pretended to shoot 4. I mean, it was a most amazing thing. Jessica Lynch is lying in a hospital bed, and people come up and say, "You're such a hero." Everybody around her had died. She was knocked unconscious. You know the story. She was rescued by the special forces who had planned it, so they caught it on camera. It was a big publicity thing, but she didn't know it until she came out of her unconsciousness in Germany, and she hears she's a hero, and she's thinking, "Wait a minute, I'm no hero. I fainted, or I was knocked unconscious. I didn't kill 15 people. My gun was at my feet. My hips were broken, my arms were broken." And she's now lying in bed, and she's told she's a heroine, and she doesn't know whether, because everybody that could have said that she wasn't was dead. And she was faced with this dilemma. What do I do? Do I say I'm a hero? Or do I say I'm not a hero? What does she do? How does she face that? 3 victims of the DC sniper. 2 of them released their rage against these madmen who were firing bullets at people indiscriminately. One lady, whose face had been shot off, could not bring herself to lose the anger. And in the interviews, I had the 3 of them with me at the same time. The 2 said, yes, you know, we've released it because, and this phrase that I had heard, that the desire for revenge is like drinking poison and hoping that it'll affect the other person. Your anger and your inner anger and your desire for revenge is poisoning you. It has nothing to do with the other person. They don't know. This lady, this 3rd lady, couldn't bring herself to forgive him, or whatever term you want to use to release herself. And in the interview, you could see the idea of forgiveness benefiting her, not Malvo, who's in jail, beginning to dawn on her in this interview. It was Dave Kaczynski, the brother to Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber. Unabomber? Hands? Unabomber. Ted Kaczynski is as crazy as a loon. But the brightest, he has 160 IQ. His brother Dave, 7 years younger, loved him, worshipped him. Ted was the kid, was the child who was going to save the world. This working class family had fathered and nurtured a genius who turns out to be crazy. And Dave, the brother who was in his thrall all childhood, is in the position at one point because they published Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber's manifesto. And embedded in the manifesto were words that Dave's wife recognized and brought it attention to Dave and said, I can't believe this, but I think your brother is the Unabomber. And that's like saying, you know, Sheila is the Unabomber, the sister to your whoever, you know, your closest relative. Unabomber, don't be ridiculous. What are you talking about? And gradually, over a period of some time, Dave begins to understand that his brother, now long gone, is the Unabomber. What does he do? Does he turn his beloved brother in? And if he does so, and if he is the Unabomber, he'll get the death. He's condemning his beloved brother to death. I get to talk to Dave Kaczynski. Shattering. Okay, what else? I'll take a question. Like, why are you here? Riverside. Wait a minute, Riverside. Okay, the future birthplace of Captain Kirk. You come from Riverside? You went there on a mission. Okay. Yes. And the gift shop in the city of Riverside, population 940. You saw the Shat. Can I talk to you about the Shat? I don't know whether any of you saw Invasion Iowa. Did you see Invasion Iowa? Hands for Invasion Iowa. That's less people than saw. Okay. What you got to do is see Invasion Iowa because it slipped by. It was on the Spike Network. It wasn't well publicized, but it is unbelievable. 2 guys come to me and they say, we got an idea for a television show. You buy a town and you run the town and we'll make you the mayor and we'll film it and you'll fool everybody saying it's going to be fun. And I said, that's really cruel. Everybody will hate me. As much fun as it sounds. But what about, and this idea just was there, full blown. What about we go into a town and pretend to shoot a film? We'll call it Invasion, Iowa, and it'll be like monsters coming over the mountains, and I'm directing. And we'll make ourselves the fool. The Hollywood group will be the fools, and the townsfolk, we'll hire some of the townsfolk to be crew and to be cast, but I'll play the extraordinary, the extravagant director, and we'll see what their reactions are to a bit of Hollywood, exaggerated. Come to this small town, Riverside, the birthplace of Captain Kirk, and I played Captain Kirk. So they bought it because I'm Captain Kirk, the birthplace of which I was there. It was going to be my birthplace. We lied for 10 days. And if somebody, one person said, wait a minute, this doesn't sound real at all. You know, there are two people leaving, and that really offends me. Why would they go? I'm in the middle of a... Is this not like one of the great stories? Like, aren't you all leaning forward? What's going to happen? Well, here's what happened. What's the word, spoofed them? We punked them. We punked them for 10 days, got 10 hours of television in which I had to ad-lib. A guy blessed me with a possum penis bone. The bone inside a possum. Little erection bone. He blessed me with this thing. I mean, that kind of thing you can't write. It was incredible. And then on the last day, we told them that we had punked them. Everybody but the pig farmer forgave us. The pig farmer was a dignified, wonderful guy who, you know the old legend that if the dairyman picks up the newborn calf every day, he'll be like the biggest, the best weightlifter in the world because the cow eventually weighs a ton. But when it's born, you can lift it. So every day you lift this cow. Well, he's been lifting pigs all his life. Small piglets, they got bigger and bigger. He was massive. He could have crushed all of us in one thing. You don't want to punk him too much. He was mad at me for about 3 hours until we revealed that we were going to give a lot of money to the city council of Riverside to do whatever they wanted with, like school, like a library or something, and everybody forgave us. Shows you what money can do. And we all had a good time, and that's the Riverside Invasion, Iowa thing. Listen, time for one more question. You don't have a question, you have a photograph in mind. What's your question?
Over the years,
How have conventions changed? Not at all. Yes, young lady. One of the best relations, I'm just repeat this so people back there. One of the best relationships you've ever seen on TV is Denny Crane and Alan Shore. Thank you. How long did it take James Spader and I to fall in love? It was instant karma. Well, you know, generally, two actors that are there day after day either get to love each other or get to hate each other. I mean, it's a forced marriage. James and I were hired separately, and suddenly, hi, I'm James Spader, hi, I'm Bill Shatner, how are you? And you begin the scene. It's the same thing, if you can believe this, in a love scene. Hello, my name is Jane Manson. Well, name me a pretty girl. Angie Dickinson. Oh. My name is Angie Dickinson. Hi, my name is William Shatner. Take off your clothes, let's get into bed. It's as simple as that. Yes, it was. Angie Dickinson took off her clothes, that's right. So it's that kind of a meeting. So James and I spent almost 5 years, almost every day, and especially on those balcony scenes where it was just he and I. And we learned to love each other. Now, James has little peculiarities, but like a marriage, you have to sort of forgive or find them wonderful. Like he's hyper clean. So I do little things like put Vaseline on glasses that were handed to me. I know. There's a gentleman down here saying, oh, poor little James. Anyway, that's me. So he had to put up with my cruelty. Yes. Most fun that I've ever had. When I was the villain on Columbo. Those experiences. Columbo was a very, what's his name, Peter Falk is really ill, or is he dead? What? Well, I don't follow this thing. He's a wonderful guy, great actor, wonderful fellow, but he's very ill, right? No, he's dead. I told you he was very ill. That's as ill as you can get. You're dead. How ill was he? He died. He's very dead. He's very ill. He was a lovely, lovely man. I loved him. He was a great character. I knew him from a long time ago in live television, and knew him peripherally through the years. He was a wonderful, wonderful guy. And I knew he died. Then I forgot. I put it out of my mind because I didn't want to think about it. That show was very difficult to write because the audience knew who did it. And the thrust of the show is, how long will it take Peter Falk to learn what you already know? Dangerous writing, because most mysteries are the detective is looking, so the audience is looking, and it's not this and it's not that, and is it the pretty girl? Is it the butler? It's the butler. And then that's the end of the mystery. How difficult it is. Why the hell doesn't Peter Falk see what we see already? You know? So, playing the villain was very difficult to do, and a great deal of fun, especially the way they wrote the stuff for me to do. And it's fun because I'm very subdued. I don't like to be extravagant or anything like that. I like things that are quiet. And I had to come out of my shyness and be large and a buffoon kind of thing. It was very difficult for me to be a buffoon. It was great fun. And Peter Falk, bless his heart, was a great, great influence on that. Yes, sir, in the way. You know, I was looking at him. I'll get to you next. Go ahead. Is there going to be a sequel to Kingdom of the Spiders? I hope not. Kingdom of the Spiders was a movie, sort of, you know, one of those independent films, and they decided that if you had spiders and you don't have arachnophobia, you can make a movie about tarantulas. So they hired me, and I thought that'd be all right. It'd pay the rent. And so I got acquainted. We chose the actress by her ability. This is the God's truth. An actress would come into the room, and the director and the producer and myself are there. We'd have a box. Nobody was asked to read, see whether they could perform the role or anything. Would you reach in there and grab that tarantula, please? 9/10 of the girls would go, ah! Oh! And that would be it. One or two of them reached in and grabbed this tarantula. They were hired. Then they dumped spider after spider on top of me, and I never understood why I was always going like that. Till I found out that tarantula hair is itching powder. That's what they use for itching powder. Then one day, the director said, all right, so Bill, you'll fall into camera here, and then all the tarantulas come and cover you. And I don't know why I think this way, but I thought if I had a tarantula on my face, and I fell into camera. Wouldn't that look good? And wouldn't it look better if, so it didn't look like a dead tarantula, the tarantula then moved off? How much glue would it need to stick a tarantula on my face, fall into camera, and have it walk off? So it took 6 tries. A little too much glue, you know. It looked like a tribble. Too little glue. And just enough glue. It sounded like, what's her name? And Goldilocks. It was the Goldilocks principle of how much glue for a tarantula. And I fell into camera, and I went like that, and the camera and the thing went off like that. One of my finest moments as an actor. So, no, I don't think they're going to make a... Go ahead. Would I ever go back to Stratford? You know, I went back to Stratford for the first time. I did a documentary, and that documentary is coming out soon, called Gonzo Ballet. Gonzo Ballet. Margot Sappington is a famous choreographer. She calls me. I don't know who she is. Hello, I'm Margot Sappington. I'm doing a ballet at the Milwaukee Ballet Company, and I'd like to use some of the songs you wrote on an album I did called Has Been. I wrote some songs. Thank you. How many of you have heard Has Been? Oh, good. Okay. More of you have to hear Has Been. But when you see Gonzo Ballet advertised, watch it, because it's great fun. And it's a documentary. So I said, great, yes, you can use my songs. And I sent 8 cameras up there to film some of the rehearsal and the performance. And people talking. And then they filmed me, and I talked. And then we put it all together. It's a documentary. It's a making of a ballet on songs that I wrote. Is that wild? And it's great fun, and it's entertaining, and it's full of laughs, and full of interesting stuff. So, Gonzo Ballet. So, the Stratford, I was a member of the Stratford Shakespeare Company in its inception for 3 years. And in fact, it was instrumental in getting me to New York, where I was on Broadway, and then I stayed in New York and did Broadway work. So I go back to Stratford for the first time in all these years with a documentary under my arm, because they are starting a documentary festival, and I play it in front of a large audience on the screen. And they start to applaud at the end. They call me up, and I get up, and the people stand, and they're crying because I'm back, and because it's a moving piece of film, and I start to cry. And so the audience and I are crying together at Stratford for the first time. They used to cry because, oh, God, he's bad. Now they're crying because they enjoyed the thing. What a change. And so I was back at Stratford for the first time. Would I go back to perform? I'm having so much fun talking without having to learn lines. It's a joy. No, I probably will not. I'm of a certain age, and I'm enjoying the last few hours of my life doing something else, being entertaining you. Now, listen. No, I got to stop. I got to stop. I'm going to go sign some autographs down there. It's a mile away. I don't know how I got here. So I'll wait for any of you who want to pay an astronomical amount of money, I just don't understand it, to get my autograph. I'll be there for a short while, and then I'm leaving, and I won't be back tomorrow. So we love you,
Mr. William Shatner, everybody.